Hey everybody. So for those who are just now tuning in, my name's Amanda. 7 days ago, I received full upper extractions and upper dentures. And this is just my channel blogging about my progress, what all I'm learning, life hacks, that type of stuff. Today I'm just going to tell you about some exciting things actually that happened today. Exciting thing number one. When you go to get dentures, they tell you that you have to learn how to eat and talk again, because it's like totally different feeling having dentures in your mouth rather than your natural teeth. And for most of us, myself included, I have a lot more teeth now than what I did pre-dentures. So it's a weird feeling sometimes. And I've been having like a lot of issues with saliva and like lots of random stuff like that. But what they don't tell you is that in addition to having to learn how to eat and talk again, which is very accurate, very true, you also have to learn how to kiss. So when after I got my dentures, I'm married to a phenomenal guy. Like kissing for me has just been very, very uncomfortable almost. It just like puts a lot of pressure right here on my cheeks and like my, I don't know what this is called up here, but that hurts when I go to kiss my husband. So today I had a couple of free minutes and I was like waiting. I'm just going to be honest. I was waiting for someone to show up to a Zoom meeting because that's what we do now in a pandemic. And so I turned my camera off while I was waiting and I decided to practice kissing on my hand. So I just like puckered up and then started kissing my hand until it felt comfortable for me. Like I learned like what I had to do for my mouth and like the shape that I had to make that was different. And it is much more better now to be able to kiss my husband. I'm not even gonna lie. So that is the awkward thing that nobody ever tells you about, is that you have to learn how to re-kiss after you get dentures. Thankfully, I have a phenomenal partner and bestie who is very, very patient and hasn't really complained at all during this entire process. God bless him. He's a freaking saint for sure. But that's thing number one, that 7 days post dentures, I would like to publicly state that I can now kiss my husband, and it's amazing. Thing number two, I totally had a French fry today at lunch, and it was great. So I've been packing my lunch at work. Today's the second day that I've been back at work, but yesterday was only like a half day. Today was the first full day that I was there. And I brought some leftover meatloaf and mashed potatoes and gravy. And come lunchtime, I'd had a kind of a rough morning. Some things were just not going my way. And I was like, do I want to have the meatloaf and mashed potatoes? Or do I want Wendy's? I can do chili, I can get myself a Frosty, and I can try the French fries. Because who doesn't like to take their French fries and like dip them in the Wendy's chili or the Wendy's Frosty, whichever way you're floating that day, and then eat it? That sounds like a phenomenal first hard food to try 7 days post-surgery. So I tried it, and it was amazing. Not even going to lie. It was fantastic. I learned a couple of things. One, I'm not quite at the point where I can like bite into it. I was like trying to play around with like the different sides and angles and stuff. And really the best thing that I found was like using my tongue, like sticking the fry in my mouth, using my tongue to like launch it down, and then using my bottom teeth to like bite into it. And then at that point, I was able to like mush it with my tongue and then chew the mushy part of the fry. So on my napkin on my desk, I totally had like half a dozen end of, you know how some people don't eat the crust of sandwiches? Well, on my fries, like the crunchy part of the edge of the fry, totally didn't eat those. So on my napkin, I had like 6 different like end of fries that were there. I felt like I was like a 5-year-old asking my mommy to like cut off my crust or something. But it worked for me, and it was delicious. And It didn't like go as well as what I was hoping it would go. Like I was hoping I'd be able to like just bite off the whole thing and then just like chew it nonchalant, like I didn't have to think through it or anything. That's not necessarily the case, but at least now I know that it can be done, which is kind of cool. And that was my lunch today. Was I had half. It took me literally 2 hours to eat lunch today. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. 2 hours. I started at 12:30. I reheated up my chili after my 1 o'clock meeting, and then I continued eating my chili and my fries for another hour. And thankfully, I have a fridge in my office. I'm very spoiled at work. I have a little mini fridge in my office that I stuck my Frosty into. So at like 2 o'clock, I was like, I'm tired of trying to eat these fries and this chili. So I had the rest of the Frosty. It was delicious. But when I got home, my husband was like, hey, what do you want to have for dinner? And I'm like, honestly, I have spent like this entire day trying to eat French fries, succeeding, but it was an effort. And then practicing kissing. And my husband was like, who have you been practicing kissing on? I was like, my hand genius, okay? Like, I was like, with my hand trying to figure out how to kiss you again. But anyway, so for dinner tonight, I had some oatmeal because I was like, my jaw, it's not even like my jaw, it's just like my whole mouth muscles are sore from just like overload right now. So we had oatmeal for dinner, and that was nice. But it's nice to know that like I can eat stuff. And it's actually interesting because like now my diet is basically back where it was before I took my teeth out. Like I had steak the night before I got my teeth extractions because I knew it would be a while before I could even potentially have it. But really that's the hardest thing. And even then I had to like cut it up in teeny tiny little pieces just because I only had like one good tooth right here that I could actually chew with. Because the two teeth over here, were like infected on and off this whole pandemic. And then my front teeth were so decayed that I was always afraid to like bite into anything. Like I was afraid, it got to a point where I was afraid to like bite into an apple or bite into corn on the cob or anything like that because I was afraid that they were going to shatter and then I'd be like toothless. So it really was just like these two teeth over here that I had that matched up with the bottom tooth that I was actually able to chew with. So like eating the steak, if I'm being completely honest, was an effort the day before my surgery. An effort that was well worth it because I love steak, but it was like a difficult effort. So it's nice to know that now, like 7 days post extraction surgery, I can now eat almost all the same food that I had beforehand. With certain exceptions. Like obviously I'm not doing chips right now because I'm not stupid. Like I don't want a chip getting stuck in my extraction site and then me end up with like some type of infection or going backwards in my healing process. I can be patient. I can be smart about it. But like all of the foods that I was eating before were naturally soft because that's where I was with my chewing process. So like I had a lot of tuna helper before. I had a lot of noodles before and like spaghetti sauce and stuff like that simply because I had problems chewing. And now here I am, 7 days post surgery, and I'm not only able to eat the foods that I had beforehand, but I also recognize that there's a lot of promise for my future that's actually really exciting. So even though sometimes it can be frustrating, like trying to say the word socks, SOCKS, the thing that goes on your feet, and someone misunderstanding me and me having to explain what I'm saying rather than saying the same word over and over again, totally happened today, by the way. Moments like that can get frustrating. And then, like, taking 2 hours to eat lunch can get frustrating. But it's a process, and I recognize that. And I'm excited that not only do I look fantastic, but there's a lot of promise for my future as far as, like, eating goes and like, I'll get right back up to as active as I was beforehand. I'll be able to go rock climbing again with dentures. I'm sure I could go running again with dentures. And, like, I'm not going to be, I don't know, like, there's not going to be any reason for me to be hindered from being able to like be at the same spot that I was pre-dentures as like post-dentures, if that makes any sense. But that's really all I got tonight. I just wanted to tell you guys that I can now kiss my husband and I can eat French fries, and that's actually very exciting. So that's my day 7 progress. I'm working on the letter to myself of what all I wish I knew before I got dentures. So I should be able to post that tomorrow or the day after that. But anyways, I hope you all have a phenomenal day, and I'll catch you later.